On this episode, Bronze Age Batgirl Karen Whitfield is interviewed by our own Delvecchio Coleman.
All right, everybody, welcome. I am Delvecchio, and I am honored to be here with one of our special guests at the Fayetteville Comic-Con coming up next week, April 23rd and 24th at the fabulous Crown Coliseum in Fayetteville, North Carolina. We are here with the author of Bat-Driven West, Karen Whitfield. How you doing today?
Hi, Del. It's nice to see you. Hi, everybody. This is fun. Thank you for inviting me on your show, The Discord, with North Carolina Comic-Con. I'm sorry, North Carolina Fayetteville Comic-Con. And I'm really excited to be here, and I hope to see everybody next weekend, the 23rd and 24th of April. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. So everyone who doesn't know, Karen Whitfield is a North Carolina native. She traveled with Burt Ward on a touring, I don't know what to call it,
touring appearance. Appearances.
Yeah. So if what was it like traveling with Burt Ward? For those who don't know, and I know this is going to sound crazy, but Burt Ward played Robin in the original Batman television series alongside with Adam West. So just for those who don't know, that's who Burt Ward is. But Karen, what was it like traveling with working with Burt Ward? Actually, an even better question was, how did you get into the role of Batgirl, accompanying him as Robin? How did that come to be?
Well, I actually traveled with Burt Ward and Adam West. The three of us traveled. Burt and I would alone sometime, and the three of us would, and sometimes they would travel alone. So
right.
It was a great journey. It was a life journey that I'll never forget. It helped me who I am today, traveling with them. And, I was very young. I was just 20 when I met Burt. I met Burt in 1977 at the Raleigh-Durham Airport at Hertz Rent-A-Car. I worked there, and he happened to come in there. And then 3 months later, we became fast friends, and it was just a path that I felt like I was led down. And 3 months later, the day after Christmas, 1977, I moved to LA. And then starting January, I traveled with him, as Robin. It was pretty surreal to watch him be the man that I met, and then be Robin. And of course, when I was 9 years old, that's when the 1966 show was on. So I was able to, I knew who he was, but I didn't know who he was when he first came up, because he wasn't in his Robin suit. It had been 10 years. I had grown up some. So, but yeah, it was really a great journey to travel with he and Adam. Again, it made who I am today. And they were wonderful mentors and people that I've learned I learned about life with, how to interact with people, to be in the public world, and to travel. I had never traveled before, just to be out there in the world. And when I met them, I didn't know that I was going to be in the middle of the superhero role. And I guess I was being trained as the Bronze Age Batgirl, not knowing that's what was going on. And I'm not sure they knew it. But when we started traveling, and I met Adam in March that year of 1978, and then I believe it was around August, I was asked by Adam, would I like to be the Bronze Age Batgirl, which would travel with them, because all the little girls were asking them where Batgirl was, and unfortunately, Yvonne Craig, that was on the show, she didn't want to travel suited up. So I was hired by DC Comics and to suit up with them as the Bronze Age Batgirl, which was, it was wonderful. It was a great journey. And I saw how they changed from the men they were into these superhero roles. So I learned all about Batgirl and was able to do that. So it was pretty wonderful and surreal. It was fantastic.
Yeah, were you into like comics? Was Batgirl like someone that you previously knew about? Actors and whatnot, they play a role, but they have no clue about the character that they're playing. Did you find that as was that something that happened with you, or did you already know about Batgirl, the background of her?
Well, yeah, it was when I was 9 is when the show came on, and then Yvonne as Batgirl was introduced when I was 10 years old. And I remember the first time I saw her on television, I felt stronger and braver and taller. I mean, it was the first time that we had seen these superhero and doing all these fun things, and we took it serious back then because we had not seen anything like that. And I thought she was just brave, and I felt like that with her. So when all the little girls would come up to meet me, she taught me how to be that way, in a sense, because I watched her 10 years earlier. And so it helped me. And traveling with them, if I was going to take this role, I needed to educate myself of who Batgirl was, what she meant, and what she did. And so I did educate myself about her. And I just felt like I went right into the role when it was given to me to do. And I don't think that I felt like they wanted to make sure that I could be a Batgirl with them and be their Batgirl, because traveling with them and all the things that you go through and all the fans and all the people, I handled it pretty well before I even wore the suit. So I think they wanted to make sure, that happened before I was donned the mantle, and it worked. I mean, it's just wonderful. We traveled together for 5 years, and then I moved back to North Carolina when I made some major life decisions, and traveled another couple of years. I would meet them out. So yes, it was good. I did. So, but reading the comics, I think that was part of the question. No, I just remember watching them on the television like everybody else in America. But I know comics started first. And matter of fact, it was the number 359 comic of Batgirl that was introduced to the comic world, and that's where I came through, because those suit that I was donned to wear was the very first suit, and they had put Yvonne in the purple and gold suit, which I'm not quite sure why they did that, but of course that was written first in January of 1967 to introduce her that year. So which I obviously have read that comic and a few comics of the Bronze Age Batgirl since, but not until that came out, and then she was introduced.
Gotcha. So, speaking of comics, the Killing Joke, the storyline of the Killing Joke. Are you familiar with the Killing Joke? Okay.
Oh yes, when he shot Batgirl and she became Oracle. Yes.
Right. Okay. For those who don't know that are listening and watching, DC Comics ran a series where it was called the Killing Joke, where the Joker found out who Batgirl was, and he went to her apartment and he shot her and he paralyzed her, and she later became Oracle, which was the eyes and ears for what would eventually be Batman Inc., with the entire Bat family. So, Karen, let me ask you this: since you've read that, the transition from Batgirl to Oracle, in my opinion, Batman being the individual that he is in the comics, is all about pressing on past adversities and staying strong in the face of your most trying times and all. Do you feel like the way that DC Comics, being that you were on the contract with DC Comics, and I'm pretty sure that you knew some of the inner workings and things like that, how do you feel that empowered, especially females, seeing Batgirl go from this super crime fighter out in the streets on the rooftops to playing a more background support role. How do you feel that helped out young women and women, period?
Well, I definitely think you used the word empower just a minute ago. I definitely think it empowered the whole comics. It empowered everyone reading the comics. They thought, wow, what a clever thing for DC Comics to do, is to turn that into something to teach people and show people that they have other abilities in their person and their bodies to be able to use to help, in ways that they would like to. So that doesn't hinder them. In the comic world, I thought it was really clever, and I like that Batgirl did not let, or the writers, they did not let her be upset or discouraged or depressed because it happened. She turned it into good. She said, okay, I'm going to be the genius of the comic world. And she was, because she was able to go in and help them through the computer systems and hacking computers and things like that. And she never gave up her Batgirl heart and role, because she was able to hire Cassandra Cain and Stephanie Brown to help her with her other things that she needed to do. She taught them how to do that. So I think that was clever, and in the real world, just to again show everyone that they do have other powers.
Right. Yeah, I think DC did a great job when they ran the Birds of Prey, and with all of the female heroines. Outstanding writing, outstanding job, period. And especially at that time when it happened, I think that the empowerment that it gave women, I think that was very, very, very creative. I know Wonder Woman was one of DC's comics' biggest profitable characters that they had as far as female goes. Would Wonder Woman be someone that you would be interested in if you had to pick your own? Well, I don't want to jump ahead. Okay, let me ask you this: if you had to pick a character that you would like to cosplay, who would it be? And it can't be Batgirl.
Right. Well, that's good you said that, because it would always be Batgirl. But no, we had talked about that last night, and you had asked me that when we went over some things, and I did say Wonder Woman. Absolutely, Wonder Woman is definitely also Batgirl in the comics. Mentor. They're really good friends, and she looks up to her, and I definitely think it would be Wonder Woman. And if I had to be a villain, in which Batgirl can never be a villain, but let's just say, hypothetically, hands down, Catwoman. I would love that. I love. She's one of my favorite villains or villainess, and I just think she's pretty. She's perfect. So I would definitely be that as a villain if I had to choose one. But yeah, Wonder Woman would be my answer.
Yeah, I think DC did when it comes to character development, Marvel focuses a lot on group developments like the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, the Avengers, and whatnot. But I noticed that DC, they focus a lot on the individual characters.
Yes.
And their character development, especially with the female characters, they have such intricate background stories. The issues that they're going through are like really real life issues that the average person, the average woman would go through. And I think that DC did a great job. Like with the Harley Quinn, a lot of people don't know that Harley Quinn was never an original DC character. After the I think it was Batman the animated series came out, Harley Quinn was so popular that they actually brought her into the DC universe. Yeah, so what the writers do based on what the fans like, I think that is so outstanding. That it shows that the writers in the company actually listen to the fans, and they say, hey, they really like this, so let's do something with it. Yeah. Do you think that DC would ever do like a Batgirl full length movie? Think they may do
Well,
that?
they've just done it. They've just finished filming it, Batgirl. And Leslie Grace is the new Batgirl, and they're taking the modern, the Burnside suit that she's wearing, the modern age suit. So they just finished filming. It's going to be on HBO Max. It'll be 2022, but I haven't heard the date yet. But yes, and it's the first time ever we've had our own movie, and I think it's definitely time and well deserved. And Michael Keaton is going to be the Batman in it.
Oh, that is.
And Brendan Fraser is going to be Firefly.
Oh,
so it's going to be great. I really feel they'll do a great job with her, and I'm hoping so anyway. But yeah, it just finished filming, so.
That is music to my ears.
Yeah.
That is music to my ears. Like I'm a big Batman fan. Like the whole Bat family is like. And I don't know how I didn't know that. You know, I saw it was a Batgirl. Maybe it was Batwoman or something. I think it was on like the CW or something.
Yeah.
I saw a pilot for it.
Yeah, that's Batwoman, which she's Kathy Payne. She's Batgirl's aunt. So,
okay,
yeah. But yeah. So when I'm out, when I give panels at Comic-Con, so when I'm out meeting people, I've been telling people all last year that they were starting to film it. Then when they did film it, you know, and then now just finished, I've been telling people about it. So I feel like I'm an ambassador for that too as well, because it's all perfect timing of everything happened when I came back to the Bat family, and then they started talking about the new Batgirl movie at the same time, and just all kind of impeccable timing of me coming back has happened.
Okay, cool. That is like the greatest news that I've heard like this year so far. I kid you not.
And she's beautiful level.
Yeah.
So she was on that Heights movie, and she has a beautiful singing voice too. She was on the Heights,
right?
And now she was donned the new mantle, so it's gonna be good. And Christina Hodson that wrote The Birds of Prey and Flash, I believe she wrote that, and Bumblebee, she wrote that. She wrote this one as well, the Batgirl movie. So it should be really, really good.
Yeah, that's one of the like I said, before, I'm a huge Batman fan. I've always, when I look at the Batman movies, I always treat Batman and Superman. I put them in the same. I put them in the same way of thinking. So this is how I think. You can have anyone put on a Batman costume, Batman. The truth. Test is how well you can play Bruce Wayne. How well can you play Clark Kent? Because playing the alter ego is, you have to convince people, I may look like Batman or I may look like Superman, but you have to convince them that the way I act, there's no way possible that I could be, this person. So my next question for you is, who do you think was the best Batman out of all of the Batman movies? And I'm going to throw this out here. We cannot say Adam West, because Adam West is like...
come on. I'm going to say
Adam West, right,
he was my Batman. I'm going to say Adam West. All hands down.
Adam can't be put into it because he's like the GOAT. So whenever you have conversations about it, you automatically should know that Adam West is automatically number one. So
yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Right.
So to answer that question, it's a hard answer, because I think every one of the actors that brought Batman to life, they all gave it something that the other ones didn't. So I think DC did a really good job casting the Batman for each one of those movies that they did. But I think each one of them brought a great their role, a great aspect to their role. But so I know that people have their own favorites, and it's hard for me to answer that. But I mean, if I had to answer that, I do like Christian Bale.
Yeah.
I like the Dark series. I know a lot of people might not, but I do, and I love Heath Ledger as Joker.
Right.
I mean, he was my always, even though the Cesar Romero was the Joker, 10 years after I was a little girl, and 10 years after, and I had met him. But but looking back, I did like Heath. And secondly, I liked Ben Affleck. I did like him as a Batman, and of course Michael Keaton was the first one right after Adam.
Yeah.
So to answer who would I choose over, and I was really concerned about Robert Pattinson being the last Batman, but I think he did an exceptional job, and I think he did a great job, and some people might choose him as the number one Batman for them, because I really enjoyed that movie, and I think he did a great job as Batman. So I was really impressed with him. So I like him too. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Which would be my favorite, three of them?
I like all of the Batman. Like everyone that played Batman, they played a good Batman for whatever time period it was.
Yes.
Like when George Clooney
Good
played
answer
Batman.
for the time period. For the time period. Exactly.
Yeah, because you can't have, like, Christian Bale was like Batman year one, like when he first became Batman. George Clooney was like an older Batman, like on the verge of almost retiring, so I think each one brought a different aspect to it,
Yeah. It's the time of the comic world, and it's the time of our world, the real world. They brought something, to each of those. Yeah.
Yeah. So Karen, I've noticed that whenever I look at I go to a lot of Comic-Cons, a lot of different Comic-Cons, and I've noticed that I see Karen Whitfield would be the special guest at this Comic-Con. Karen Whitfield will be the special guest at this Comic-Con. And, we at the Fayetteville Comic-Con, we at the Fayetteville Comic-Con will be having you next week, 23rd and 24th at Crown Coliseum. And we were talking yesterday, you and I. You were like one of the original cosplayers.
Yeah.
One of the original cosplayers. So, Comic-Con, I guess, or cosplay has been in your blood for a while.
Yes.
So,
but we didn't look at it as cosplay. We were.
Right.
I mean, I was the superhero in people's eyes, but cosplaying word came out after later. We didn't even know what that was. And no one, when we were dressed up, I mean, not even little children.
Right.
So to come out and see this and see what's happening, I just think it's just wonderful and just exciting that people resonate with each one of the cosplayers they play. And honestly, and when I see someone that can play different cosplay players, I think it's just wow. And they definitely change their character. They change, it's just wonderful when I see that. It's amazing.
Yeah, you've been like I don't know if you noticed, but you have been like an inspiration to all cosplayers that came after you. Because it's just like you said, you when you put on your costume, you didn't see a whole lot of other people dressed up.
I didn't call it costume. I call it my suit. My suit, not my costume. My suit.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so out of the different Comic-Con conventions that you've been to, do you have like a memorable moment, something that, really stood out with you, anything that you wanted to discuss?
Well, before I answer that, I want to go back just a minute. So I'm really excited to be in the Fayetteville Comic-Con next weekend because that was my very first Comic-Con that I was in and even attended. I never attended in all those years until 2021 Comic-Con. And people, have asked why. And the reason why is because when I hung up my Batcave, I decided to, raise my family and be a mother and a mom, and didn't want to take my children all over the country. In which now they say, oh, we would have loved it, especially when they were teenagers, but I didn't want to do that at the time. I just wanted them to. So, and when I decided to write the book, and my heart was driven to that, that's when I just, when Comic-Con comes next, so you can meet the people in the cities and your fans and things like that. And when I went in there, I felt at home. I was completely 100% at home. It didn't feel awkward to me at all. Keith Gibbs was he raised the bar for my Comic-Cons moving forever, because he did a great job, and Mike did too last year. I know Keith is running this one this year, and it definitely anytime you do something for the very first time, you'll never forget that. He really have raised the bar with that, and I'm so excited that I was invited to come back again next weekend and see all the people I met a year ago that have now become my friends, and then see and meet new people. I'm really excited about that. So to answer that question, was there any memorable time? Probably my most memorable time, and I went to 15 last year, and I think I've already been to 5 this year, but was when I was in Florence, South Carolina. I sell merchandise and things of Batgirl and the Bat family on my table, and I had these Batgirl masks I was selling, and this family of, I think it was 6 children came up, and the 2 of the little girls wanted the masks so bad, and at the time they couldn't pay for it because you're raising 6 children, so they just couldn't afford to get 2 of them. They said they need to have 2. And they walked away, and I felt like, oh my gosh, this is why I'm out here, to meet people, and be kind and make people feel, warm in their heart, and to show the love. And so I left my table and I went and talked to the mother, and I told her, I said, I would love to have you be able to afford this, what can you play? And she told me, and I gave them both to her for that. And the little girls came back and they put on their masks. We had pictures taken, and that right there, to smiles on those little girls' faces, that's the whole premises of being out there, I think, again. And to see that, it just marked my heart, and also, and the parents, because I was raised, not very, my mother was very frugal. We didn't have a lot of money growing up. And then, and then later in life, I was a single mom. So I remembered what that was like, not being able to buy something you really want. It had to be a necessity. And so, that's my heart. And the mother was so kind, because I did a Zoom with Married with Comics. And she came in on that, not on the Zoom, but under the comments, and she introduced herself and told the story to whoever, watched the Zoom. And that touched my heart, that she even humbled herself to do that. And to me, that's the most memorable right now.
That's great. Like, that's exactly how I feel. Like, I sell merchandise at the different Comic-Con or different cons that I go to, and the fans' reaction, that is like the best part of it. Winning trophies is okay, winning prize money is okay, but the satisfaction that you have from a fan enjoying, something that you created, or something that you just wanted them to have, that's a great feeling, and Batman would be so proud of you for doing that. Yes,
well, I mean, he and Adam and Bert taught me to be that way with fans, because, they would stand in line for hours. I've not seen that yet, but back then we were the only ones out there. No one did it, and the show had just been over 10 years. And the Bat Family Adventures, the comic had come out, and Bat Family Adventures on television had come out that same year, and I think it was January of 77 when I met him, in September of 77, and then in 1975 the Bat Family comic had come out. So and people would come up and stand, and Adam, every person in front of him, he acted like that they were the first and last person, that they were the most important person, and Bert as well. So they taught me to be that way, and now even in my life, to care about people and care about how they feel, and you make a mark on people's lives, whether you know it or not, good, bad, or ugly, you make a mark on people's lives. And so when I've finally gotten out and meet people, I remembered what they taught me, and I just love meeting people. So the Comic-Con world, to me, I just enjoy it, and I'm bat-driven west again. Now I started east because I'm from the east and from North Carolina, and I've gone through a lot of Comic-Cons in North Carolina, but now I'm driven west again, bat-driven west, and went to California, San Diego last year, and the Mini-Con, and also Texas now, which was a really fun Comic-Con, and I've gone to Florida. So I want to move out west again, but East Coast and North Carolina will always remain my home.
So speaking of Bat-Driven West, for those who don't know, Bat-Driven West is the name of Karen's book. So what made you decide to, that's your autobiography, right?
Yes. It's a part of my life when it was part of my life, and Batman and Robin, Adam West and Burt Ward, and all the Bat family happened to be in that part of my life. But this is it right here. And this is the back. I love the back. Isn't that cool?
It is. I'm going to get me an autographed copy when next week.
Oh yeah, I'll be glad to do that. But and David Becerra, he was the one. He's the artist for my cover, and he's in Spain, Galicia, Spain. I've got my Barbara Gordon on, so with my glasses, my Barbara Gordon on. Anyway, so he was the one that designed the front, and then he and I did the back together. But it just he was the best artist because he really made it come alive, the book. Right. But Bat-Driven West, what happened is in 2015, I never was on any kind of social medias at all. And I don't know if subconsciously I thought if I did, they would have found me, and I was still raising my children. But in 2015, I finally got on Facebook, and I was able to get to befriend again, or friend, on Facebook with Burt Ward's sister, Gigi. And then his daughter, Lisa, saw that we were friends on Facebook, so she friended me. And so I decided to go out there and see them in 2016. And I went, I think, 4 times that year. And we became close, and it was like those 30-some years had never been there. So I just, and it just was amazing to be part of them again, and it was like I saw them the day before. I mean, it was just like that. And so I went to see them a lot that year, and then coming home, it was after October of 2016, I was on a plane, and it just hit me that maybe I should write a story about that time. And my daughter, when she did find out about it many years before that, she told me that I should write a book about that time, because she said, if you don't, Mom, you're the only Batgirl that traveled with them. And you're the only one, you will take it to your grave if you don't write the story. And Bat fans might want to hear that this is a missing link, and there's stories that you could tell about them and what they were really like as human beings and men, and they were really superheroes in and out of their pursuits. And so when I started thinking about that, and I got home and started looking at that life, in this box, the pictures and newspaper articles and things like that, it just made me realize that I was going to do it. But I've never written a book before. This is my first one. And so and it took me 2.5 years. But in that 2.5 years, a few things had happened in which, like I said, the impeccable timing of it all was just amazing, because we did lose Yvonne Craig in 2015, which really heartbreaking and sad when I found that out. And then in 2016, when I went to visit them, so 2017, I decided to write the book. And then as I'm writing it, I realized 2017 was the 50th anniversary of that girl. And when I left it, I really left it. I didn't know where she went or what she did or what happened. So then I said, oh my goodness, it's the 50th anniversary of her. And I started educating myself of where she went. And that's when I found out in 1989 when she was shot by the Joker and things like that. Impressed and proud of her and DC, of what they made of her. It just really made me feel great, and that she was an important part of the family. And because I left it in like 1985. So then, I just decided to write it, and then Adam passed in June of 2017, that same year, which was devastating. And I put it down for a bit, and then I picked it back up and finally finished it. But while I was writing it, DC Comics wrote Bronze Age Batgirl Omnibus, and their first one was published in December 2017, and as the year I was writing it. And then when I published it, when it was published in November 2019, they had written the second omnibus. It was April 2019. So it was all the same timing. And then in 2017, they started talking about the Batgirl movie being made, and Josh Whedon was the one that was going to write it, but instead Christina Hodson actually did. And I mean, so the impeccable timing, I mean, I could have come out 10 years ago, I could have, and also DC Rebirth, they had their rebirth in 2016. They moved from New York to California. So, I mean, for it to all happen, and I had no idea, it just made me realize that path, it was meant to be for me to be here. And that's why, I'm here, and I'm going to stay as long as I can, so.
Yeah, it was like the timing was like everything lined up, for
perfectly. With the stars, with God's path, however you want to feel that. I mean, it definitely did.
Yeah, that's how you know that something is going to be a success, because it's just like you said, 10 years ago you could have written a book, 15 years ago a book, but it was just something about that time that something hit you to where it was like, hey, this is the time to do it. This is it. And I encourage everybody at the Fayetteville. You're gonna have copies at the Fayetteville.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'll have copies, definitely. And I sell, pictures, pictures and pops and just posters of the comics, like the 359 comic and a few of the other comics that Bronze Age Batgirl's in. I do sell the posters as well, so I do have memorabilia and things there. So.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna load up personally myself. I want to let you know that I am going to load up. I really am.
Well, good. Well, on the tail end of that, I with these Zooms and things like this, I do like to introduce, a few people. So, as I do have a contract with DC Comics. I did speak to them, which they were wonderful when I spoke to them. And Jim Lee, he signed my contract, which is in a frame right beside my book. It's really cool. But and then for them to have the faith in me to be able to do this, I really do appreciate them being there. However, they didn't, they said I can do this, just don't add DC on the, my banner cover. I could Bronze Age Batgirl, I can travel all over the world in or out of my suit, but not to add the DC logo. But so, Comic Collectors Guild, they're wonderful. Izzy's the president, LT is the vice president. They picked me up, the Comic Collectors Guild, and they made me a banner, and they're working on another one. And they are absolutely wonderful. So if everybody can follow them, they're just great. And for them to honor me in this way, I feel really fortunate that I met them. And also and the Bat and the Cat cosplayers, that's what their account is on Instagram, the Bat and the Cat, and they're going to be booth neighbors right next to me at in Fayetteville. And I'm so excited because I've seen them grow since the first time I met them a year ago, and they've become very fast friends of mine. And and I'm so excited. They're making suits. They're in now partnership with this person, his name is Larry, and they're all together making suits now. They can make all kinds of suits, and I'm really proud of
the
them.
muscle suit that they've started making.
Muscle suits, yes.
Nice.
Yes, I mean, and the creation of that is just remarkable. And they're making me batarangs, the purple one that's on, the 1966 Batman, and as well as the Bronze Age Batgirl's batarang. So I'm really excited about that because I'll be eventually selling those. So that's just wonderful. But they are, and then and it's Mike and Lauren Enoch. And also they've introduced me to, someone that's made me a leather belt to go with my suit, which is really wonderful, and the red purse. I never received the red purse from DC Comics, so he made me a red purse. It was leather, and you can actually use it. And it's called his name is Chris, and it's called the Tie and Die. But if you follow me and you look under, who I'm following, you'll see that on there. He makes all kinds of leather too.
Actually, we'll once this interview is over, I'll get all of that information and we'll put it in the link to this video so they can follow them. And, we can share that information, because the Bat and the Cat, I've seen a lot of their work, and I've seen their work progress. And when they first put the posting up about the new muscle suits that they were making, mind-blowing. Yeah. I'm a costume designer myself, but with what they're doing as far as like mass production and whatnot, outstanding. Outstanding. I think it's gonna. I think that they're gonna sell a lot of those, especially with the new Batman movie coming out, and then they've got the Black Adam movie coming out. Yeah, so a lot of the bigger buffer. Characters. Yeah. So.
And they care. They have heart. They individualized for each person they're making a suit for, and I think that's wonderful. And then to have them as the Bat and the Cat. I mean, they're my favorite Bat, right? But I have met others that are just as wonderful. But they're really great friends. But and also coming out into this world, if our real world was like the Comic-Con world, we'd all be happy, we all be and great. And I've met so many great people since I've been traveling. I mean, people have given me gifts, and just are happy that I'm out, and and just all the vendors I've met, the artists I've met, the other celebrities I've met. I mean, everybody has been so kind. I've not met anything hard or not kind yet, and I don't feel that I will. And all the promoters of the Comic-Cons that I've been involved with, I mean, every one of them couldn't be nicer. I mean, they were all so kind and nice, and and just appreciative of everybody there. So even the fans, I mean, they're appreciative of the fans and everybody at their cons, and it's just, I mean, if everybody could go to Comic-Cons, they would be happy.
I swear to you, I've said that so many times. Comic-Cons are like the escape from their life, like regardless of whatever your race is, your sexuality, your political affiliation, Comic-Con is a place to where you can just come and be whatever you want to be. If you want to be from another planet, be from another planet.
Exactly. And it's like stepping in the comic time. It's stepping into the comic world. I mean, it's like you're stepping into a comic strip. Just walk in those doors and you're in the middle of this wonderful place. I mean, and I'm so proud to be a part of it, and I'm so proud that I was in the beginning before it was even Comic-Cons. I'm proud to see where we were to where it is now. It's just amazing. It's incredible. It's Bat incredible.
Yeah, it is. I like what you did right there.
Bat incredible.
So everyone, again, Karen Whitfield will be at the Fayetteville Comic-Con next weekend, April the 23rd and 24th. She's going to have copies of her books, memorabilia, different items for sale. So make it a point to stop by her booth. Karen, is there anything else that you would like the fans to know, or anything else that you wanted to say before we close this interview up?
No, I think maybe that's a wrap. And I want to just thank everybody for being kind to me and all the artists and that I've become friends with, and just I'm so proud to be out there with you all, and I love meeting all the fans and all the people in the city that come up. So, please don't. I have to tell a little story. So last year, So last year when I was at GalaxyCon here in Raleigh, the Bat and the Cat, Mike and Lauren, they their daughters, Lauren's daughters, came up to meet me, but they didn't, and they stayed afar. And and she said she was a bit nervous to come up because she's a bit shy, but she isn't in her cat, but in her alter ego, she's a bit shy, and I am too. People don't realize that because I can talk, but I get that. So, but now, just less than a year, they're going to be neighbors with me at Fayetteville my very first time, and this is their very first time. They're going to be my neighbors, and what a remarkable thing! Just that, just like that, it happens, and that's what I want to tell people is, sometimes if something's really in your mind and you feel like it's talking to you greatly, pursue it. Just see what happens, because you never know. What can happen if it doesn't work and you fall down. Pick yourself back up and just keep moving forward, because it could be the best thing in the world. So to do, and I'm really glad that they have done what they've done and how they've grown. So it's just just taking that path and being courageous. And they did that, and I'm proud of them from doing that, because, I see it in them, because I did that when I first moved to California when I was 20 years old. It took a lot for me to do that, and I just didn't think about it really. I just, it was the path that was open, and I feel maybe, God led that in that way, and so I took it, and then I stepped back to be a mom, and that's the best, job and gift that I could ever give the world. But now I'm back, and so you just never know. So I'm excited.
We're excited to have you. And like I said, with you being one of the originals, one of the first ones to say, "Hey, I'm not going to be afraid to step out and look like." This is just what I want to do. This is where I'm being pulled to. So
that's right.
This is what I want to do. So, I thank you for being one of the first to step out on faith, to step out
on faith. Exactly.
I love it. And
exactly.
We cannot wait to see you at Fayetteville Comic Con next week. And we're going to have a good time. We're going to make a lot of good memories and take a lot of good pictures.
Thank you. I can't wait to see you too and everybody else.
We're gonna have a good time, and thanks for participating in our Discord interview today, and everybody once again.
Thanks for asking. Thank you. Good night, everybody.
All right. Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right.